The galaxy was vast, older than anyone could remember. Millions of stars burned in the darkness, each with its own stories, its own civilizations. Hundreds of species lived under the watchful eyes of the Galactic Council, a powerful alliance that claimed to maintain order across the stars. They ruled with strict laws, their fleets patrolling every major system, ensuring that no rebellion, no chaos, could disturb the fragile peace. Yet even in this age of science and control there were whispers. Old tales passed from one generation to another, often dismissed, sometimes laughed at. Stories of a strange race, long thought extinct, humans. Humans? That old myth again. One alien officer scoffed during a council briefing. His gray, scaled skin rippled with contempt. Wait, too emotional. Fragile. They destroyed themselves 1,000 cycles ago. Why waste time on ghosts? Most in the chamber nodded, laughing quietly. To them, humans were nothing more than fairy tales, soft creatures who could not survive the harsh galaxy. They had vanished, leaving no trace, no colonies, no legacy worth remembering. But myths, as the council should have known, often hold truths hidden beneath their shadows. On a remote, dust-swept planet in the Outer Rim, an alien historian named Valor stared at a flickering console. He had spent decades studying old transmissions, star maps, and records from before the Great Galactic Wars. And tonight he found something unusual, a faint signal, almost imperceptible, coming from the edge of known space. It was rhythmic, steady, and strangely familiar. A heartbeat. Valor's antennae twitched in disbelief. Impossible, he whispered to himself. Humans alive? He sent the readings to the Galactic Council. His message was ignored, dismissed as interference or a sensor glitch. The Council had little patience for old legends, especially one that challenged their understanding of the galaxy. Yet curiosity can be stronger than dismissal. The Council, perhaps out of caution or arrogance, ordered a small reconnaissance fleet to investigate the signal. 7 ships, sleek and armed, prepared for the journey into the uncharted void. The fleet entered the dark emptiness of the Outer Rim, where stars were few and the silence was heavy. Days passed with no contact, and the Council began to grow uneasy. Then a transmission came. It was short, cold, clear. They are coming. And then silence. No signals. No readings. The fleet had vanished without a trace. Panic spread through the Council chambers. Some denied the warning, claiming it was a hoax or a malfunction. Others could not ignore the fear that tightened their throats. Valor, alone in his study, felt the weight of history pressing down on him. Humans were not myths. They had vanished, yes, but maybe they had never been gone at all. In distant systems, merchants and travelers began noticing strange anomalies. Old human technology, considered lost, flickered in derelict satellites. Long-dead colonies emitted bursts of energy that made no sense to alien engineers. Yet the Council remained silent, trying to maintain calm across the galaxy. But stories, once spoken, spread like fire. Fear grew. The whispers returned, this time with urgency. The humans, they are coming. Valor stared at the flickering console once more. The heartbeat pattern continued to pulse in the data stream, almost as if mocking the galaxy. It was a rhythm that seemed alive, patient, waiting for the right moment. Across the stars, alien fleets repositioned, attempting to strengthen their defenses. Military officers argued over strategy, sending patrols deeper into the void, scanning and probing, trying to find anything that could explain the impossible. But deep in space, far beyond sensors and scanners, the human heartbeat continued. Calm, silent, unseen, watching. Valor leaned back in his chair, his eyes wide. The myths of humanity were no longer stories. They were warnings. And the galaxy, which had once laughed at human tales, was about to learn a terrifying truth. The silence that followed the last fleet's disappearance was heavier than any starless void. Ships and stations waited, hearts pounding, knowing the inevitable. Something was coming. Something powerful. Something patient. Something human. And in the darkness between the stars, a presence grew, a force so quiet, so deliberate, that not even the most advanced alien minds could comprehend it. They are coming, the Council repeated to itself, though none truly knew what those words meant. But Valor did. He stared at the stars, whispering to no one. The galaxy will regret the day it laughed at human myths. And somewhere in the uncharted depths, the faint heartbeat continued, echoing through the void, counting down to a moment that would change the galaxy forever. The disappearance of the Council's fleet sent shockwaves through the galaxy. Rumors traveled faster than light. Traders whispered in crowded spaceports, soldiers murmured in the corridors of warships, and scholars debated in quiet, hidden libraries. Yet, official announcements claimed everything was under control. A temporary setback, the council insisted. But behind closed doors, panic had taken root. At the outer edge of the galaxy, a region known as the Silent Zone stretched for thousands of light-years. No stars shone bright here. Nebulae hung like dark curtains, and the vacuum seemed thicker, as if the universe itself held its breath. This was the place the lost fleet had vanished. No ship had ever returned from it. No probe survived. Many species considered it cursed, forbidden, a graveyard of lost explorers. Still, curiosity, or arrogance, drove some to venture into the Silent Zone. One of them was Terran, a young alien reporter from the Clithian system. Unlike the Council soldiers, Terran sought the truth, not glory or power. He had spent years following old stories about humans, collecting whispers, evidence, and anomalies. Now, with the fleet gone, he knew the time had come to see the truth for himself. Terran's small ship drifted into the void. The sensors were alive with strange readings. Energy fluctuations, unknown signals, bursts of light from nowhere. It was as if the zone itself was alive, watching every move. Terran's antennas twitched nervously. "It's too quiet, too empty," he muttered. "Something is waiting." Hours turned into days. The darkness pressed in, but Terran pressed on, scanning every anomaly, recording every pulse of energy. Then he found it, a derelict satellite orbiting a lifeless moon. It was old, ancient, yet still active. Lights flickered faintly across its surface, and its signals hummed a strange, repeating pattern. Terran adjusted the sensors. The pattern? It wasn't random. It was a message. Slow, deliberate, and haunting. "We remember what you did," the transmission whispered, almost alive. Terran froze. He replayed the signal. Every alien in the galaxy had believed humans were gone forever. Extinct. A myth. And yet here was proof. Something or someone had survived. His ship shook as a sudden wave of energy rippled through the area. Terran's instruments went haywire. He blinked at the screens, unable to understand what he was seeing. Signals, lights, energy pulses. None matched anything recorded in galactic history. He realized with a chill that the Silent Zone was no ordinary place. It was a watchpoint, a staging ground, a hiding place. Suddenly, a shadow passed across his viewport. His heart, or the alien equivalent, skipped. Nothing in the maps, nothing in the records could account for it. It was enormous, silent, moving with purpose. Terran's instincts screamed to flee, but curiosity held him fast. He needed to know. Back in the council chambers, reports came in from distant systems. Sensors detected massive energy surges coming from the Silent Zone. Fleets were dispatched to investigate, and none returned. Panic spread like wildfire. For the first time in centuries, the council had no control. The galaxy had no idea what waited in the darkness. Terran continued, guided only by the faint signals from the derelict satellite. Days turned to nights in the void, though here the concept of day was meaningless. Finally, he intercepted a new transmission, short and sharp. "Prepare. The reckoning approaches." The words echoed through his ship. Fear and awe intertwined. The human myth was real. They were not gone. They had survived. They had grown. And now, something was coming, something that the entire galaxy was unprepared for. Terran recorded everything, every signal, every anomaly, every strange reading. He knew his findings would shake the galaxy to its core. But even as he recorded, a thought gnawed at him. What if he was too late? What if the humans had already decided the time had come to act? Outside his ship, the Silent Zone stretched endlessly. Nebulae glowed faintly with unknown energies. Shadows moved in the darkness, and the pulse of the mysterious signals continued. It was a heartbeat, stronger now, measured, patient. And somewhere, far beyond sensors, far beyond comprehension, the human presence waited, hidden, silent, observing the galaxy that had once laughed at them. Terran felt a chill that no heat shield could protect against. He whispered to himself, barely audible over the hum of his ship. The galaxy has ignored the myths for too long, now it will pay attention. And in the endless darkness, the Silent Zone seemed to answer. The heartbeat continued, steady and unyielding. The waiting had begun. No one in the galaxy was ready for what would come next. The galaxy had never been quieter. Across star systems, alien fleets patrolled cautiously, sensors scanning the void for anything unusual. Yet, nothing had prepared them for what was about to appear. At the edge of the Silent Zone, strange energy readings grew stronger. Alien admirals stared at their consoles, unable to comprehend the scale of what they were seeing. Then, across the dark expanse of space, shapes began to emerge. First, small at the edge of sensors, then larger. Thousands of them. No signs, no flags, no signals. It was an armada, a formation so vast, so precise, that no alien fleet had ever witnessed anything like it. 10,000 ships glinted in the dim starlight, perfectly aligned, silent, waiting. Each vessel was sleek, sharp, and unlike anything the galaxy had catalogued. Their designs were human, and yet far beyond any human technology previously known. Admiral Call of the Zorith fleet clenched his claws around the control panel. His voice trembled. Impossible. These can't be human, can they? On the bridge, the officers whispered among themselves. The myths, they were true? One asked, barely able to speak. But that many, 10,000 ships? The human armada did not move immediately. It hovered in perfect formation, a dark mirror against the stars. It was silent, patient, and deliberate. The sensors of the alien ships began to fail, instruments overloading with impossible readings. Some systems shut down entirely, lights flickering as energy pulses jammed communications. The alien crews felt panic rising. Then a single transmission broke the void. No alarm, no battle cry, just a calm, clear message in a language that even translation programs struggled with. You forgot us. But we did not forget the galaxy. The words echoed across the comms channels. Fear replaced disbelief. The Council had always believed humans were myths, extinct, powerless. Now, standing before them, humans were the embodiment of power itself. Admiral Call barked orders. Fire. Attack formations. Strike now. But the human ships did not respond with violence. They did not retreat. They simply maintained their positions, almost as if time itself slowed around them. The alien weapons fired, beams of energy streaking across the void. And then, nothing. Every blast dissipated before reaching its target, absorbed or deflected by forces the aliens could not understand. Across the galaxy, sensors recorded anomalies in real time. Ships and stations alike experienced system failures, communications blackout, and unexplained energy surges. The galaxy watched in terror as the human armada demonstrated control over technology far beyond comprehension. The human ships moved next. Slowly, methodically, they advanced through the silent zone. Alien ships tried to intercept, but every maneuver failed. The armada seemed aware of every movement, predicting every strategy before it could be enacted. Admiral Call's hands shook. They are not just ships. They are thinking, like one organism. From the bridge of a distant cruiser, an alien officer whispered a chilling thought. This is not war. This is judgment. Meanwhile, Terran, the young reporter, drifted closer to the edge of the armada. From his small ship, he could see the full scale, 10,000 vessels stretching as far as the eye could detect. He recorded every moment, every flicker of light, every pulse. His heart raced. This was the proof he had sought his entire life. Humans were real and they had returned. But the humans did not attack. They did not make a sound. Their movement was silent, precise, almost ceremonial. And the message repeated, this time broadcast to all in the silent zone. The galaxy has forgotten us, but we have not forgotten you. Even from a distance, Terran could feel the weight of the message. It was a warning, a promise, a statement that humanity had returned, not as traitors, not as weak myths, but as a force no one could ignore. Admiral Call's fleet began to retreat. The Council's pride and arrogance crumbled under the shadow of human power. The myths once laughed at were now reality. Fear gripped the hearts of even the bravest officers. The human armada advanced silently, perfectly, as if guided by a single will. 10,000 ships, moving together, the first sight of a legend turned reality. The galaxy, for the first time in millennia, was united in a shared, terrifying awe. Terran watched, trembling. He whispered to himself, almost in disbelief. The myths were true, and now, they are here. And in the silence of space, the human ships glided forward, unstoppable, patient, waiting for the moment when the galaxy would truly remember them. The first shots were fired. Alien warships, proud and heavily armed, unleashed volleys of energy across the void. Their beams streaked the darkness like fire across a black ocean. The Council had ordered them to strike the human armada immediately. They wanted to test their strength, to show the humans that the galaxy's might was not to be challenged. But the humans did not respond in the way the aliens expected. The energy blasts, powerful enough to obliterate entire stations, simply disappeared upon reaching the fleet. Shields that no one had seen before, technology far beyond imagination, absorbed every attack. The aliens' confidence melted into fear. Admiral Call, sweating beneath his armored scales, yelled across the bridge. Focus fire. Concentrate everything on one sector. Orders were obeyed, beams of pure energy aimed at a cluster of human ships. Yet nothing happened. The energy beams scattered, twisting and bending, dissipating into nothing. The alien crews could not believe their eyes. How is this possible? An officer stammered. The human ships moved then. Slowly, deliberately, almost like dancers in a vast cosmic ballet. One by one they maneuvered with perfect precision. Ships that had once been considered legends now became hunters. Alien ships found themselves trapped in deadly formations without warning. Some vanished from sensors, some were immobilized by forces unseen, and some simply drifted away, lost, paralyzed by the humans' silent power. And then came the calmest moment of all. The humans did not attack openly. They did not fire a single weapon. They advanced, silent, patient, 1,000 threats in a single pulse. And still the aliens continued to panic, firing blindly into the void, hoping that luck might favor them. On one cruiser, a young alien officer whispered, "They are not attacking, yet we are dying." Across the galaxy, news of the strange battle spread quickly. Civilizations that had laughed at humans for centuries now faced the reality of their power. Panic spread faster than light as fleets scrambled to regroup, abandon sectors, or hide behind planets. The galaxy had never seen such precision, such control, such calm in the face of annihilation. Terran, observing from his small ship, recorded every movement. From his perspective, it looked almost artistic. 10,000 human ships moved as one. They were not chaotic, they were perfect. And each alien vessel that tried to fight back was neutralized without a sound, without an explosion, as if it had simply never existed. Admiral Call's voice broke across the bridge comms. "Pull back. Retreat to the outer systems. Do not engage further." But retreat was already too late. Communication systems failed, sensors overloaded, and ships began vanishing before they even reached safe zones. Alien officers screamed in panic, orders clashing with chaos, as the humans moved silently, unstoppable, inexorable. The Council convened emergency meetings across the galaxy. Nothing made sense. Every weapon, every strategy, every tactic failed. The humans were not just advanced, they were untouchable. Every movement calculated, every strike anticipated, every fleet undone before it could act. In the heart of the silent zone, Terran watched a horrifying spectacle. The human ships moved like shadows, nullifying attacks, paralyzing engines, leaving nothing but fear in their wake. The energy pulses emitted by the humans were unlike anything recorded before. Sometimes defensive, sometimes offensive, but always precise. No life was wasted unnecessarily. Every alien ship that vanished did so silently, leaving crews terrified, yet unharmed if they survived the initial shock. For the first time, the galaxy realized humans were not just myth, they were judges, masters of technology, strategy, and patience. The silence of the Armada was deafening. Aliens had no way to predict what would happen next. Every fleet, every ship, every commander felt the cold certainty. The humans were in control and the galaxy was powerless to stop them. And then another broadcast came. This time, clear, calm, commanding, heard by every ship in the zone. "The debt must be paid. Your reckoning has begun." The words were simple, but their meaning was terrifying. The humans were not here to negotiate. They were not here to negotiate. They were here to remind the galaxy of its past arrogance, of its failures, of its cruelty. Terran recorded everything, his hands shaking, knowing that what he witnessed would change the galaxy's history forever. And somewhere in the fleet, unseen, the human leaders watched silently. No words were spoken. No celebrations were made. Just quiet, calm, and absolute purpose. The war of silence had begun. Not with explosions, not with noise, not with rage. But with precision, control, and fear. Every alien in the galaxy understood it, whether they wanted to or not. The humans were here and nothing could stop them. Even the bravest officers whispered to themselves in disbelief. The myths, the humans, they are real, and we are powerless. And in the void, the human armada glided forward, relentless, patient, silent. The first true judgment of a galaxy that had once laughed at their myths. The galaxy trembled in silence. Across countless star systems, alien fleets had either retreated or vanished entirely. The humans moved with an unshakable calm, 10,000 ships gliding through the void like shadows of judgment. Every action precise, deliberate, unstoppable. In the heart of the chaos, Terran recorded every moment. His small ship drifted in awe, barely comprehending the scale of what he witnessed. But even as he observed the Armada's silent advance, a question burned in his mind. Why now? Why after so many centuries? The answer he would soon discover lay in the past, a history the galaxy had tried to erase. Long ago, humans had been explorers, traders, and scientists. They had spread across the stars, establishing colonies on countless worlds. Their curiosity, intelligence, and courage had brought them into contact with every major civilization. But their strength, ingenuity, and spirit had also earned the envy and fear of the Galactic Council. The Council had declared humanity a threat, a danger to the galaxy's fragile order. They had sent fleets to destroy human colonies, bomb worlds, and erase their history. Many humans had perished. Entire systems had been lost. And yet, some had survived, hidden, patient, and watching. For centuries, humanity rebuilt in secret. They learned from the Council's mistakes, mastering technology far beyond anyone else. They created ships capable of moving silently, weapons that could strike without warning, and defenses that no alien fleet could penetrate. Most importantly, they learned patience. They knew that one day the galaxy that had tried to erase them would have to answer for its arrogance. Terran felt chills as the truth unfolded before him. The humans were not invaders nor conquerors. They were survivors, observers, judges. Every maneuver of their armada, every precise movement of their ships, was measured, deliberate, and meaningful. The Council's fleets, the generals, the soldiers, they had believed humans were gone, myths to be laughed at. And now that laughter had turned to fear. They had forgotten the humans. But humanity had never forgotten the galaxy. From his ship, Terran watched a human vessel shift into formation with 10,000 others. The fleet's movements were almost artistic, precise in ways that no alien mathematician could calculate. And in their silence, the humans spoke a message louder than any weapon. We remember. The galaxy's systems flickered as alien communications failed. Sensors overloaded. Entire fleets had vanished, paralyzed by unseen forces. And the humans moved forward with perfect patience, advancing without aggression. Yet every alien knew the truth. The humans could destroy them if they chose. Admiral Call, hiding in a distant system, stared at the hollow map of the Armada. His claws shook. This is not war, he muttered. It's judgment. Across the galaxy, whispers spread. Legends of human courage, resilience, and ingenuity now transformed into warnings. The species that had been called weak, emotional, and extinct had returned. Not to conquer, not to dominate, but to remind the galaxy of its sins. Terran recorded everything, his antennas quivering. The humans were teaching the galaxy a lesson it had long deserved. Worlds that had ignored their suffering, fleets that had laughed at their myths, the council that had tried to erase them, all were now forced to witness their reckoning. And yet the humans did not celebrate. They did not gloat. They moved with a calm, measured precision. It was clear that vengeance was not their goal, it was justice. Their power was terrifying, yes, but their purpose was higher. From the silent zone, a new transmission emerged, echoing across every star system. The galaxy forgot us. It ignored us. It tried to erase us. Now the debt must be remembered. Terran's recordings captured every reaction. Fear, awe, disbelief. The galaxy had underestimated humans for centuries, and now it understood its error. Every fleet, every soldier, every council member knew they had been reckless. They had forgotten a truth that was simple yet profound. Humanity survives. Humanity endures. And humanity never forgets. For Terran, the moment was both terrifying and inspiring. He realized he was witnessing history, not just the return of a species, but a reckoning that would shape the galaxy for millennia. And as the human armada advanced, he whispered to himself, "The galaxy has ignored the humans for too long. Now, it will pay attention." Somewhere deep in the fleet, unseen and silent, the humans prepared for the next stage of their plan. The galaxy would soon see not just their power, but the reasons for their patience, their resilience, and their survival. The forgotten debt was about to be settled. In the void, the 10,000 ships glided forward, a perfect formation, a living testament to humanity's survival. The galaxy, once arrogant and dismissive, would remember them forever. The silent zone was no longer just a region of emptiness. It was the stage of the humans' return, a warning, a judgment, and a promise. And in every system, every planet, every fleet, one thought echoed louder than all else. The humans were never gone. They were watching. And now, the reckoning has begun. The galaxy held its breath. Systems that had once laughed at human myths now trembled in fear. Entire fleets had been neutralized, entire sectors left in silence. The 10,000 ships of humanity glided forward with calm precision, their presence casting a shadow across the stars. No weapons fired. No signals of aggression. Just a perfect, unstoppable formation moving silently through the void. Every alien fleet, every station, every planet watched in awe and terror as the humans advanced. In the Galactic Council chambers, panic reached its peak. The most powerful leaders of the galaxy sat frozen, staring at the holomap that displayed the human armada. Every projection flickered under the stress of unknown energy fields, and the Council's technology strained to process what they were seeing. Admiral Call, his claws trembling, whispered to himself, "We thought they were myths, legends, ghosts. But they are real, and we are powerless." Across the galaxy, Terran's small ship drifted close enough to see details no one had imagined. Human vessels gleamed with a strange, purposeful light. Every ship in the fleet was perfectly aligned, every movement deliberate, every detail precise. And through his instruments he caught the first full broadcast of the humans' message, calm, clear, and final. "We were your myths, your ghosts, your forgotten story. But remember this, humanity never forgets." The words echoed through every planet, every system, every alien mind. Fear and awe mingled in the hearts of all who heard them. The humans had returned not for conquest, not for chaos, but to deliver a statement. A message of truth, resilience, and warning. Alien officers whispered among themselves. "The myths, the stories, they were real all along. We underestimated them. We failed to see what they could become." And still the humans made no move to attack. They simply hovered in perfect formation, silent and patient. Their ships radiated a calm power that no weapon could pierce. The galaxy understood that this was not the end of the humans' plan, but it was a lesson. A reminder. A reckoning. Terran watched as the human armada moved slowly away from the galactic capital, leaving behind systems and fleets in stunned silence. The fleet's presence was enough to rewrite history. No one would ever forget the moment they appeared. No one would ever underestimate humanity again. In his recordings, Terran captured the final words transmitted to all corners of the galaxy. The galaxy had forgotten humanity, but humanity never forgot the galaxy. And with that, the armada vanished into the void, leaving behind nothing but whispers, awe, and fear. The silence was heavy, almost sacred, as if the universe itself recognized the significance of what had occurred. Across the galaxy, fleets regrouped. Leaders met in hurried conferences. Scientists scrambled to understand the technology and strategy of the humans. And everywhere, aliens spoke in hushed tones about the species they had laughed at, the myths they had dismissed, and the force they had now witnessed. Terran floated in space, still recording. He realized he had witnessed something historic. Not just a battle, but a story that would be told for millennia. Humanity had returned, not for war, but for remembrance. They had shown that even myths, when alive, could shape the galaxy. The Council, humbled and shaken, could only watch. Their arrogance had been dismantled without a single explosion. Their control over the galaxy had been questioned by beings they once dismissed as extinct. And in the emptiness left behind by the Armada, every leader understood a simple truth. Humanity could return at any time, and when it did, no one would stand unprepared. And so, in the vast darkness of space, the galaxy learned to remember. It remembered the courage, the resilience, and the patience of the humans. It remembered the civilizations that had tried to erase them. It remembered the myths that had been real all along. Terran's voice, calm but filled with awe, whispered into his recording device. The galaxy had laughed at human myths, but now it will never forget them. Humanity returned not as conquerors but as reminders. And their story has only just begun. The stars themselves seemed to shimmer differently in the wake of the human armada. The myth had become reality, and the galaxy would carry the memory of it forever. And somewhere, in the endless void beyond sensors and charts, the humans waited silently. Watching. Patient. Ready. Always ready. The galaxy had learned its lesson. The humans were not gone. They had never been gone. And their return had reshaped the cosmos forever.